So today I am just playing around in my journals, and this is a little bit of an intro into how I work with figures, faces, etc. Basically what I do is called I have come to learn. Like a few years ago I learned that the word pareidolia is what I do, and that is basically finding familiar imagery in amorphous forms. So like cloud gazing, you look at a cloud and you see, oh, it's a horse or a bunny or, you know, whatever. A face in a tree trunk, a face in the carpet. It's the way that you, like your memory, your history of images, and your imagination come together when you're looking at the edges of forms coming together. And I squint, so I close my eyes tightly. I do that a lot because that helps you see the edges of the lines even more clearly. I love working this way. I've been doing it for most of my painting career. I started like the year after I started teaching myself to paint. So this is very much second nature to me now. But I can tell you that anyone can do this because we all have a history of images, we all have an imagination, and we all have, Lord willing, if we're not living in the middle of bombing and famine, etc., those of us who are privileged to have a good measure of safety, we have the time to put into really honing this skill. So yeah, so it's time to play, giving yourself time to play and make funky stuff and you know, just kind of mess around with form, and it really teaches you how you see. Yesterday I sketched the face out, and all I did is, if you can see here, there are some like blue patches under the pink, and those reminded me of like facial features, and I just started scribbling and playing around, squinting, and this is what I saw. So now I'm going to bring, even though this will get covered up, I'm going to bring some of this blue into the face to start developing this a little bit better. And this is a trick that I learned from an artist years ago, YN Thompson. Sorry, not YN, Sharon Tomlin. I believe her videos are still on YouTube, maybe some of them. Anyway, she said to always bring some of your background color into your faces, your figures, portraits, because that'll add some, like a feeling of cohesion. So I'm going to do the same thing over here, even though there's not nearly as much. There are some spots, and you know, again, who knows how this is going to play out, but it is fun just to, even now, to feel the pages like come together. I mean, sorry, the backgrounds and the foregrounds come together. This really is the way that I work, back and forth, just adding different stuff, playing, and I really, nowadays, I use less paint than I used to. I really love colored pencils, and so I use those quite a bit, and that's what I'm feeling now. I'm going to stick in the blue family. This is a little, I keep all the nubs. It's like an aqua color. So, and if you've been around me for, for a while, you know that I love to scribble. Scribbling is super cathartic for me, and it it makes me do things that are bold, they're riskier, and then it also just, it adds some coolness to, coolness as in it's cool. It adds interest to the story, because you sometimes these lines will pop through depending on the viscosity that you use. Like if you glaze it, if you do a wash of color, you know, it's more translucent then, so you can see the underlayers. And I never know how that's going to play out, and so I just scribble to my heart's content, because I just love it so much. And if you watched any of my 100-day project videos from last year, which is the only year I've done it, you will see lots and lots of just free scribbling. And I probably talk about it more, I can't remember now, but all of those videos are under the playlist on my YouTube channel. And if you're looking at this from Substack, then my YouTube channel is linked. If you go to my main page, you can see the tabs at the top. Or you can just look up Miss Stell Made on YouTube. Oh, this is so fun. And even with faces where I'm wanting to go a little more realistic, I will do this, you know, just whatever colors are calling to me. I guess over the years, guys, I've learned that it's really, like, there's nothing scary about putting down something and trying it, because you can always add paint. You can start completely over. The thing you need to allow yourself to do is try. Just try it. And I can tell you that I have learned so much from like all of the practice. And you know, I filmed myself a lot in the beginning, and I would watch the footage, and I learned like at what point I started to push it too far. You know, so you have to do the work in order to understand more about your voice and what really speaks to you. So I'm actually really liking this just as it is. So I probably won't do too much more to this face, at least right now. I do like to get my little red lips in. And let's do just a hint of cheek here. And let's see, I think I have, yes, I like to do a little blending when I can, or when I remember, actually, not when I can. And that just gives some really nice grunge, which is another thing I love, just that imperfection, messiness. Okay. Then I'm going to soften this a little bit. My erasers are another important tool. I have a couple different kinds. This one erases the colored pencil a little bit better. Okay, nice. That is scrumptious. Okay. Let's see. And I also use my non-dominant hand, which for me is my left hand. I use that a lot. It creates such delicious lines. And I've been doing this for years too. So I'm really comfortable with it. In fact, like, I will often just start with it. Again, because I've done this so much, this feels like second nature. So using my non-dominant hand is not scary to me or uncomfortable. I like what it does. And I haven't tried to, what's the word? I haven't tried to be neatly ambidextrous. My left hand is still, you know, more clumsy than my right hand. But there are things that my brain and left hand do together that my brain and right hand do not do together. This, because I've used it my whole life, it's still, my brain will go into control mode, whereas with my left hand, it's like just free. So your non-dominant hand is a really like subversive little creative tool. And I have sourdough in the oven, so I gotta take a break here and go deal with that. I almost forgot. Okay. Back from downstairs, checking on the sourdough. And I'm gonna keep going here. My brush is a little bit too big to be doing the detail stuff that I'm doing, and I like that as well, because the marks that I get are not controllable in the same way they would be if I was using this size. Round brushes are my favorites because I like to scribble and scrub, and these are just great for that. And the ones I use the most are the Princeton Catalyst brushes. So they're firmer than just a typical acrylic brush, and definitely firmer than watercolor brushes, and I really love them. And that kind of stuff takes a while too, you know, to figure out. While this is wet, I'm gonna try using one of these silicone tools to scrape out the word morning. And I don't do this a lot. Usually I'll use like a stylus, a ball end stylus like this, for kind of more of a sgraffito look. That I'm scratching into wet clay, wet paint, wet surface to reveal, well, to make marks, but in this instance you're revealing what's underneath. It's drying out on me, the paint is. So I'm going to switch to this guy, and we'll just switch the textures here. My N does not want to show up as well. That's okay. All right. That's a fun little spread. And I'm just looking at the nose here, and I want to add some depth. So I'm just going with a dark green here to add some depth so that there's more contour. So even though I don't paint realistically, I do still use kind of the basic contouring techniques. So using darker colors to create the sense of depth, like even just using the graphite here to give you an idea of the side of the bridge of the nose, you know. And to see this better, what I do is squint. So the same way that I learned to see the face itself, then to do my like finishing touches, I squint as well. And you know, choosing a dark green, I could have done like a purple, any kind of dark, because your brain reads it the same way. So that's really fun, and that means that you can really play around with colors that you love, or colors that feel right in the moment for what you're working on. And because I'm loving this green so much, I am feeling rump, 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 rump. All right, yum, what a fun sun. Sunshine. And I think now, just to help the morning stand out a little bit better, I'm gonna just respond to the space, the negative space, with some scribbles. It's always so fun to add a little tablecloth, and I like the kind of oh, I don't know my fabric patterns very well, but like a check or a gingham. I know those are slightly different, but this thing, this is what I mean. I love drawing these. There we go. And then I'm going to work in this spread and show you how I start, how I see into this, what feels like chaos, and pull out, abstract a face or figure. I don't know what's here yet, so we'll see.